Hi, folks. Today I come to you with new information from XPeng. First, I minimize myself so we maximize the information you get. XPeng sets April 2nd launch for 2026 Mona M03 with an in-house developed AI chip. And this is from March 30th. And even though I published this on the 1st of April, it's not an April Fool's joke. And it says that XPeng will launch the updated Mona M3 on April 2nd, bringing 750 tera operations per second of computing power to the sub $20,000 market for the first time. The new model is equipped with XPeng's in-house Turing AI chip, reflecting the company's strategy to boost profit margins through hardware-software bundling. Let's have a look. So this is the Mona M3, which exists already in China and is the best-selling model, they will say later. The color seems to be exactly the same as I have it now on my G6 Performance. And I would say the size is very similar to a Model 3. Maybe if somebody of you has driven the Mona 3, can you confirm that? Anyway, XPeng will officially launch the highly anticipated 2026 Mona M3 electric sedan on April 2nd with a launch event scheduled to begin at 7:30 p.m. Beijing time. The Chinese electric vehicle maker announced the launch plan on Monday. The updated Mona M3 will benefit featuring the company's in-house developed Turing AI chip following a series of other XPeng models. We've seen that now that they introduced Turing everywhere. Sadly, in my brand new G6, it's not a Turing chip yet, which would mean that, sorry, mine will not be VLA2 enabled. So we will see what that means for autonomous driving later in the next years. The upcoming new sedan means XPeng will bring up to 750 TOPS, that's tera operations per second, of smart driving computing power to the sub $20,000 EV market for the first time. Keep that in mind. And then the Mona M3 is currently the lowest priced model in XPeng's production or product lineup, with the current version starting at roughly 120,000 yuan, and that is a little bit more than $70,000 in China, which would translate, even if we consider some, upgrading in terms of pricing, it would be it should be below $20,000 euros. The electric sedan is also XPeng's most important sales driver. It delivered 175,689 units throughout 2025, accounting for nearly 41% of total deliveries, according to data compiled by CNEV Post. And in the first 2 months of 2026, the model continued to be the top delivery charts and contributed 31.5%. I think the G6 is becoming very, very popular right now, so it takes over some of that. But this is the massive sales winner, basically, in China for XPeng. And why do they not import that to Europe? I don't understand that. Let's see. To provide a more refined visual and tactile experience, the updated model has polished exterior and interior details and added 2 new exterior colors. The new car's chassis has been upgraded with adaptive damping shock absorbers in a below 20,000 market. And its power battery supply has been switched from BYD's FinDreams battery to EV Energy. I don't know them. Does anybody? Let me know. With the same 62.2 kilowatt battery pack capacity, the updated model's maximum pure electric range has increased by 20 kilometers to reach 640 kilometers by the Chinese standard, which is very, very positive for the cars. In WLTP, that will probably translate to something in the range of 400. And that means realistically 300 in winter, 350 highway range in summer, I would assume, if you agree to that. 60.2 puts it pretty much in exactly the same segment as the Model 3 standard range. To support a smoother operating experience, the model's cockpit hardware has been significantly upgraded, featuring an MT8676 cockpit chip and 24 gigabyte of memory. Introducing the Turing chip to its lowest priced model aligns with XPeng's recent business model adjustments as the company seeks to improve profit margins through tiered hardware and software options, because they try to control as much of the whole production line as possible. They are not, I think, where Tesla is right now with that, but that is an entirely different concept than the European car builders like Volkswagen or so, who usually have dozens and dozens of suppliers of different parts, and every part comes with a different software that runs it, and that causes a nightmare of coordination and, of course, forbids to have anything streamlined, leave alone cheap. And if we look at the policy here, it's again, they put the best stuff they have developed themselves into their cars on all levels and call that increasing the profit margin. So not the European approach to have the lower models always being stripped of some important features, etc. And in the end have dozens and dozens and dozens of configuration options, which only increases the prices in the end by ridiculous amounts. But here it's very much, I would say, the Tesla approach. You can choose as little as possible. Most of it is predefined. And this is a 62 kilowatt battery car with adaptive dampers at a price below 20,000. That's the range of the Dacia Spring, which is in many ways arguably technically the worst EV that you can buy in the moment. Just objectively speaking, in terms of the technology that it houses, and when you see also what kind of problems appear later. That is an insane value proposition, and they don't bring it to Europe. I don't understand that. I will have to talk to them and ask them why they have this policy and why they do not step into the market that everybody would be interested in. This marks I had that, sorry. The strategy is advancing as XPeng improves its financial health, with the company achieving its first GAAP net profit in the fourth quarter of 2025. That's correct. They had, if I'm not mistaken, 50 million US dollars profit for the first time. But the first quarter of 2026 looks already substantially worse than the one in 2025. So there goes the profit again. XPeng expects its entire model lineup to complete the transition to Turing chips starting in the second quarter of this year, and the company plans to launch 4 new models within the year. And I can just say, XPeng, if you really want to boost your sales, bring a car like this. Look at it again. This is the Mona 03. To me, that is a car which is exactly in the lineup here in Europe of the Model 3, probably the Ioniq 6, probably the new BMW i3. But if you compare it to the i3, for example, that's a third of the price, at least how it is sold in China. If you build that at Magna, like you do with the G6, and so don't have these crazy import taxes, tariffs, you should try to sell this car around 20,000 euros new. And I would practically dare to guarantee, sort of course, no legal guarantee here, that you would sell enormous amounts of this car in Europe because that's what everybody is looking for, an absolutely affordable electric vehicle with a decent range for a family who is not rich at a price tag where you nowadays can barely get a Skoda Fabia. So XPeng, do it. That's it for me, folks. Let me know what you think about this development at XPeng and whether you agree that they should bring that to Europe or whether Uwe is crazy. Ciao, folks.